Okay, hi everybody. I am Brett Norton with Beyond Clean. Good afternoon. And tomorrow's Fast Forward conference. I liken it to, having the stars of the show from a movie premiere. And so we've got one of them here. Tomorrow's conference is titled Fast Forward, Accelerating Your Professional Development. And the conference is dedicated to helping sterile processing professionals with the tools to elevate their professional journey. And joining me today is Jamie Terran, Vice President of Marketing and Education at Proper Manufacturing. Welcome, Jamie. Good to see you.
Hey there. Thanks for having me, Brett. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So before we get into it, why don't you tell our audience? I know that you've been with us on a number of podcasts. You've done a lot with us, but for those out there that don't know you, would you mind giving a little bit about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Jamie Terran. As Brett said, I'm the VP of Marketing and Education at Proper. My professional child is Proper Academy. That's where we host all of our continuing education programming. And we are really excited to be participating and sponsoring this conference. It's the first time that we've worked on something like this. And it's something that we have worked hard to bring content that is new and interesting and unique to the continuing education world, which I think is very aligned with Beyond Clean's goals. So I'm really excited it's happening.
Yeah, I think, you touched on it right there. As far as education is concerned, that's why we're here. I think that's a big piece to this long-lasting puzzle that is sterile processing in healthcare, is really finding the niche and the ability to educate our audience and sterile processing and healthcare professionals with some valuable tools. Because I think unless you're really educating yourself and continuously growing on that front, it's just hard to move forward in your career. So that's exactly what we're here for. And glad you're here, Jamie. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about Proper Manufacturing and some of the history and the mission behind the company?
Yeah, absolutely. Proper is a manufacturer of disposable medical devices, primarily focusing in the sterile processing, cleaning, monitoring space. We manufacture our products in New York City, just outside of Manhattan, in a town called Long Island City. And the company has been manufacturing there since the 1930s. So we've been a long-term contributor as a smaller company to the space. I think the thing that makes us most unique is that we are the actual manufacturer and that we are a made in the USA company. And that's something that we've always been really proud of, but has become even more important in the past few years now. Hard to believe the pandemic is years old, as supply chain issues have presented themselves, and there have been all different issues with getting products. So we partner with many companies. We have a premier contract in terms of GPOs, and work with hospitals and customers across the world.
Awesome. Yeah, I came from the vendor side as well, as you know, and I worked with a manufacturer that manufactured the products on site. So it was really awesome to go back in the back and actually see how the products are made and be a part of that, because then you know that you're doing something good for the industry local and you're supporting the U.S. market. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, and one thing that's been really cool just over my time there is there are so few manufacturers of products in the States, and actually interacting with all the people that work in our factory and still work in that type of industry and have been there for so many years and have gotten to know the products. So that's something that is really special for me about working for an actual manufacturer.
Right. Yeah, you do get to know a lot about your products, and seeing how they're made, seeing how they're packaged is something that I think is invaluable. We sometimes take it for granted when it shows up in a box and it's all nice and ready to go. But, I think that that's a really cool piece when it comes to the manufacturing side. So, well, why don't we get into the meat of this discussion and why we're here? Because we really want to talk a lot about what we've got coming tomorrow, which starts at 9 a.m. Eastern, by the way. But so, Jamie, I wanted to see, why did Proper want to sponsor a professional development conference?
Yeah, so there's so much amazing CE content out there. Every company offers the content that they put into the world. There's so much available. So I asked myself, how can we create something that is a bit unique and different from what's out there? And while of course we do have Proper Academy content that focuses on the hard skills, on the actual science behind using our products, there seemingly was a lacking for that basic soft skill type training. And so this is an opportunity to bring together a bunch of people who have used their experience in sterile processing in all different professional ways to help the people who are looking for that next step in their career, or wondering what opportunities they may have and how they may even find them.
Great. Yeah. And, I was going to ask a follow-up question, basically, centered around the challenges that we're seeing in the industry right now. There's a lot of there's a shortage in workforce right now, especially in healthcare. And so I think there are a lot of valuable tools when it comes to professional development and helping to maintain and keep good employees. So are there, without giving too much away and going too much into it, because I know we're going to talk about it a lot tomorrow, but are there some things that you could share with us as far as just retention and things that you can focus on as, skill wise, to really maintain, from a leadership standpoint, maintaining the goals and the drive from, your people that you're working with and that are working for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a theme that you're going to see in a lot of the talks tomorrow is the idea of a growth mindset and people finding fulfillment when they see an opportunity for progress and growth within themselves. And you see it when you talk with people in the industry. You see it in Facebook groups and social media platforms, that people who feel there's no opportunity, no way that they can grow or make a meaningful contribution, are frustrated, and they're leaving our industry, and we're losing very good people to other places because they don't know what more there is. And if you're somebody who is feeling like, I'm not even making an impact, which of course every single person who's working in a sterile processing department is the foundation of a hospital. But if you're a leader and your people are not feeling that they're making those contributions, they're not feeling that there's opportunities to contribute and grow as individuals, that's when people start to wonder if it's time to move on.
Right. Yeah. And then on the flip side of the coin too, then there's the managers, the directors, the leadership that is dealing with other leadership, the C-suite. And I know that is a big challenge for a lot of sterile processing managers, because they're not getting the buy-in from a lot of the larger, I guess, the spectrum of the hospital. And so I think that's another piece to the puzzle, is maintaining or finding ways to cultivate the leaders so that they're not getting frustrated and leaving. Because I know that we're seeing a lot of good leaders that are leaving the profession as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And we could probably have a whole conference just talking about managing up and
Right.
working with people above you efficiently and effectively, especially when the relationships are as broken as they are in our industry. So for many, many, many years, the connection there has been challenging. So it's going to take many years to heal and improve those relationships. But I definitely agree that there is a lot of work to be done in terms of managing up. And I think if there's one simple piece of advice that a manager could have if they're watching this, it's to find a way to get involved and to use the skills. I think networking and getting feedback from other people will be another theme that will come up throughout the day tomorrow. And that doesn't just apply when you're trying to find a new job. That applies when you're at every single stage of your career, and you need to build those relationships to understand how you can make the impact that you need to make to do your job well. And if you're a manager in a department or a leader of a department, you're doing your job well if you're able to let your technicians do their job well, if you're able to communicate on behalf of your department, as just two of the many things that one would have to do.
Right. Yeah, very well said. I think, if you're frustrated from a leadership standpoint and you can't get the buy-in, or you can't get a budget to be approved for new equipment, and you're just not being able to bring in new people, and you're running a skeleton crew, basically, it's really hard for you to feel passionate about your job. And then that kind of bleeds into, the people that are working for you. So it's just it's a vicious cycle, I guess. And
yeah, and you kind of alluded to this, that one of the things that I think people struggle with is knowing what the goal is. So it's not really enough to say, I want things to be better, because you don't have specificity within that goal. You're not clear on what you're trying to achieve. And actually, one of our bonus content pieces tomorrow will be really helpful to people who know that there's something they want to achieve, but they don't know exactly what it is. And having a very, very specific goal will be one of the keys to actually making an impact and improving, versus that feeling we all know, oh, like I've got to start getting healthier, or I need to look for a new job. But that's not enough to take action. You have to know what you're going towards so that you're motivated to get there.
Yep. Oh, that's great. Well said. And you're setting the stage pretty well for tomorrow. That's great. So you're going to be opening the conference tomorrow, which is really exciting. And I'm really looking forward to seeing and hearing your presentation. And the session is titled Empowered, Embracing Your Strengths. So can you give a little bit of a snapshot on what you're going to be covering tomorrow?
Sure. So naturally, if I say to you, what are you good at? Most people will feel shy or uncomfortable, or they might even be negative enough to say, oh, I'm not really good at anything, or all their weaknesses flood to the front of their brain. We're going to talk about undoing that and allowing yourself to embrace everything that makes you uniquely awesome. And, spoiler, we're going to share a song from Grover from Sesame Street during the presentation. So you don't want to miss that. Have you ever been to a continuing education program with Sesame Street songs?
I don't think I have. So I'm already looking forward to it. Even though I did watch a lot of Sesame Street, I'm kind of going through my head wondering which one you're going to play. So looking forward to it. Yeah, I think, that's one of those things and then you talk about job interviews and things like that, there's always the focus on the negative. And I really do think that there's something to be said for saying, what are you really good at? And looking within yourself and knowing that you have the skill sets, and knowing that you can focus and build off of those positives, and you can build off the negatives, but it's really focusing on the positive and what you're good at. I think that is something to really focus on. So that's great.
Yeah. And one thing that we're going to really talk about is how a lot of the time our perceived weaknesses are about what other people have told us. And they may not even be weaknesses to our lives. And we're going to talk about like what that means and how to know if what you think is weakness of yours is really even a weakness, how to find the positive within that perceived weakness. So we're going to really get into it.
Right. Yeah, good. Well, I'm not going to go too in depth because it's going to be a really engaging discussion. Once we get into the Q&A portion, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of engagement with your session tomorrow. So going back to Proper, are there any, or actually, what are the products and services at Proper that you're excited about? Do you have anything new that you've introduced to the market this year? Or, more specifically, we can also talk about Proper Academy, which is focused on education, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, Proper Academy is, like I said, it's my professional baby. It's our education program portal. We have plenty of on-demand programs. We host live webinars as well. So, I highly recommend that you check that out. In terms of Proper as a manufacturer and a products provider, the biggest thing I like to talk about with us is that we are a smaller company, which is an enormous strength of ours. Others may perceive as a weakness, but it is in fact an enormous strength. And it's a strength for our customers because it means that you can always get a hold of someone and have a conversation. If you need information about our products, if you need support about our products, you can dial the phone and you can speak with me directly. You can speak with my customer service team. You can speak with our VP of sales if need be, or the CTO. We're small enough that we're able to have that intimate relationship with our customers, which is absolutely essential. A product that we're really excited to have been able to launch recently is our Sterile Unite. It's an SMS wrap. We had been working on it for a long time, and we're very fortunate with timing in terms of the rollout of that product, that it was a high demand product. So that's something that we've been talking to a lot of people about, a lot of customers about. What else? I think one of our most unique products is our biological indicator test pack with culture service product. So there's a lot of mail-in spore test products out there. Our product actually is a pre-assembled test pack. So you don't have to build a test pack before using it in your sterilizer. And that can be something that's really good for some of the smaller, busier facilities like we were talking about that are very understaffed, that it just takes that one extra step out of the process for you.
Great. So the question on that end, are you going to be featuring any of these products? Because we're going to have some downloadable resources for our audience tomorrow. And I'm sure that, and I've seen some of them as we've been loading them up and getting ready, but I'm sure that we'll have those available for the audience, downloadable on the right-hand side of the screen once we get into the conference tomorrow, but and then also some videos too, right?
Yep. We've got some videos going throughout the conference, and there's tons of downloadable flyers. And always reach out to us if you have any questions about any product. We have a full line of sterile processing, sterilization monitoring products and cleaning assurance products. So if you have any product that you're curious about, and the one thing I will add to that is that many people have a primary supplier. And as we've seen over the course of the past few months, especially, it is really important to have a secondary supplier. And I think historically, there's a tenuous relationship between suppliers, manufacturers, and end users where they want to get into a conversation with the sales team because there are plenty of difficult sales reps out there who might be pushy or what have you. But I would really encourage you, if you do have a primary supplier, but you don't necessarily have that secondary supplier, to start considering alternatives, just so you know they're there if you find yourself in a situation that your product isn't available. And we are always happy to have that conversation as frankly as I say to you. So don't feel that you can't say, hey, I want to see your flyer about, Sterile Unite, even though you're not ready to buy right now. We'd rather start that relationship building, get on your contract, get pricing established, and then if you need us, we're there for you.
Yeah, that's great. It reminds me of the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And I think we learned that at the beginning of the pandemic, and when we saw supply shortages and struggles with wraps and of course disinfectants, that was a big one. And there were a lot of people that were just held to hospital contracts and specific suppliers. And really, there are quality products like the products that Proper carries that people should really be considering and putting them out there and making sure that they've got something to back them up. So
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I was going to highlight tomorrow the entire cast so everybody has an idea of who's speaking. On top of Jamie, who's going to be opening up the conference, as I said, We're going to have Brooke Elliott, who's coming in right after her. Her session is titled "The Positive Effects of Continuous Learning," and that's going to be a good one. We've also got a tell-all panel discussion with our micro-credential graduates, which is going to be a good one, hosted by Hank Balch, and he's going to have along Misty Dillon, Jesse Lopez, Barry Pickram, and Brianna Paul. So that's going to be an engaging discussion in terms of talking about the micro-credential program and the education that comes with it, and being able to elevate yourself professionally just by enhancing your skills and knowledge on that front. And we also have Check Your Professional Blind Spot, Limiting Mindsets and the Other Stuff Holding You Back, by none other than Lindsay Brown, who's here with us at Beyond Clean. And then we've got Growing Engaged Employees and Leaders, Jardine Carlton, and Purposeful Professional Development by our friend Sarah Cruz, who will be closing out the conference. So that's going to give you a good reason for all of you out there to stick around and stay with us for the entire day. So, Jamie, do you have anything else you'd like to highlight for tomorrow?
No, I just want to once again invite everyone to join us. Mention again that there are those extra CEs on demand, making the conference worth a total of 10 credits. So this is an awesome opportunity, hopefully, to learn from some amazing speakers, and we really hope to see you there.
Yeah, and like Jamie said, those bonus CEs have also been pushed out ahead of the conference. So if you want to hop on and grab some bonus CE before the conference itself, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we will be featuring those in the conference as well. So 10 CEs, hard to beat. Jamie, it's been a pleasure. Good to see you once again.
Good to see you too.
Looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right. Okay, everybody, make sure to tune in tomorrow. Fast Forward 2022, accelerating your professional development. We will see you bright and early. Well, not too early. It's 9 a.m. Eastern. It's early for me in Mountain Time, but I think we'll be all right. So we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Take care.
Thank you.